Alright, boys and girls, today's lesson is not leaving your artillery undefended, especially when there's guerrilla deployed troops on the defender's side. Hello, everybody, welcome back to Don't Do This with Ellington. This is on Total War Rome 2, as per typical, right? This is a typically Total War Rome 2 channel. So here we are. And we're learning things, guys. So, as you can see, we have Masacely here on the defenders, and they brought some Numidian Riders, which, if I remember correctly, are the only guerrilla-deployed cavalry in the game. And poor Swaby here left his German giant ballista sitting out all by its lonesome with no protection. And the Numidian Riders deployed and came in and slaughtered it, as you saw right there. Well, sometimes it happens, and unfortunately sometimes you just have to learn from mistakes and just remember not to do them again. But anyways, we have got ourselves a 3 versus 3 on the settlement of Eildon. I always hate saying this name because I never fully remember exactly how to say it. It is, if I remember correctly, is a settlement up in like what is modern day Scotland. Honestly, I think it's personally kind of a fun settlement. One thing people do not like about it is the best side to attack on. The deployment zone is pretty far back, so it is a long walk to the walls, and that can be kind of a little bit of a pain in the butt. So, other than that, I think it's a pretty good settlement, personally. Oh, we do also have Numidian Riders on the other side, and they actually got into some trouble as well. Did they get... So they killed half of the Greek giant ballista for Egypt. Now, even though that crew survived, by killing half of the crew, they have diminished half of the ammunition, if that makes sense. So the crew holds the ammo, which means when you kill crew, you lose ammo. So now this ballista is not going to have near as much ammunition to shoot with. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into some of the armies and the commanders. First off, this was sent in by the Pontus player, who is Jeff Rush. We've also got Masacely being commanded by DFA 99999. That's legitimately how it's said. We've got Ervaki, a fun faction you don't see quite as much, being commanded by Premium Petrol, I believe is what it was. And look at that, the ballista is now gone anyways, so yeah. For the attackers, we have got Egypt being commanded by Johnny Pepperoni. We've got Rome being commanded by Balsbini. Sure. And then finally, we have Swaby being commanded by Emo. As you can see, Masacely out here with some Numidian light infantry. Yeah, Numidian light infantry. And we've got chariots coming out from Pontus. Okay, so this could be interesting because a lot of Swaby's units here don't have shield wall. And look at this, he's bringing hex bearers up on towers. Big no-no. Big no-no. Don't do it. Don't. You gotta remember, hex bearers only have 80 men. Hex bearers are a support unit, not a frontline unit. Oh, man. So what should be happening here, we should be seeing, well, these are berserkers, too. I hate to say, but not a great army, guys. All hex bearers and berserkers, which means that his entire army consists of, like, probably 1,300 men is going to be my guess. Because you got to remember, all of these berserkers and all of these hex bearers are only 80-man units, and I'm betting that the Swaby player probably didn't realize that. Oy. Oh, and none of them can defend against the Scythe Chariots. The Scythe Chariots are about to annihilate Swaby here. Oh, man. And I mean, it's just one of those things, I can almost guarantee by this army compilation that the Swaby player is probably a new player, and I almost guarantee did not look at the sizes of their units, so went into this with 80-man units, probably not knowing it in the beginning. Yeah. Side Chariot's just ripping this to shreds because, to be perfectly honest with you, they really have no defense against this. Honestly, so their best defense were these Horse Runners right here, but the Horse Runners were not in a setup position to go in and do anything and jabby down these Chariots. So Chariots here are 455 kills. The Masaesole Light Infantry here, the Numidian Light Infantry should not be winning this fight against Swaby, but Swaby's units are just not good enough, you know what I mean? Basically, he brought a bunch of like support units, not frontline units. So what he needed was things like Swordmasters, or even if you wanted to bring like Bloodsworns or Wolf Warriors, things like that, right? Then you bring your Hexbearers or Berserkers in as a support unit. Hexbearers can do fear effects, things like that. Swaby is actually a really cool, fun, like fear faction. You bring the Warrior General, then you bring things like your Berserkers, your Hexbearers. You use fire arrows, things like that, and you stack up those fear effects and break units. That is a really good tactic with Swaby, but Hexbearers and Berserkers are not frontline units. I hate to say it. This is definitely a learning lesson. Definitely something that you probably don't want to do next time around. The Side Chariot's now up 689 kills. And once again, it literally just comes down to the fact that Swaby can't do anything about it. Wodenaz Spears can do something about it. He needs to get out of this formation so he can jabby these. There we go, there we go. Looks like they'll jabby anyways. He needs to focus these Chariots down. And make sure you use your cavalry counter tactics. That's what you need to use against these Chariots. 732 kills, by the way. Rome just now kind of getting towards the walls. Big thing here, don't clump up like this. They probably don't have any artillery left. Okay, so Aravaki could literally turn around and get so many kills right here. If you don't know how to Aravaki, you select your artillery, hold the left Alt button, and right-click over in the direction. What will happen? I guess you already did kind of turn. He might be out of ammo. His thing might have just kept firing. Sometimes if you hold that Alt button, sorry about that, didn't mean to do that, and click right below the position, you might be able to get it to stop firing, because that's a place it literally cannot fire. Side Chariot's now coming in against Rome. Rome is going to be one that's going to be really hard, though, because Rome's units are extremely heavy. And so the Chariots really just don't go through them as well. Even now, it is broken. Got a lot of wasted ammo. You probably want to take these guys off of fire at will. We don't want to be wasting ammo on that Chariot like that. You can see Masaesole has his Legionary set up. Here's the deal. Swaby's gone. Swaby's out of this fight pretty much. So you can see the Numidian Riders going down now. So Masaesole and Pontus are pretty much free to come and just stonewall Rome and Egypt. So it does look like Aravaki is going to hold the mountain, but he needs to be careful. He needs to remember this is open right here. You can come up onto this hill. So if you're going to hold this, you probably want to hold this as well. Rome slowly getting up. We got a Praetorian Guard. A lot of Praetorian Guard. Well, I guess not a lot. Looks like 2 Praetorian Guard. Need to keep units moving forward, guys. Otherwise, Masaisole's going to come in and swamp these armies that are, or like these units that have gotten up here by themselves. Sorry, I was taking a drink there. You can see Rome coming in. He's already lost about 20 men just from the javelins of Masaesole. So we've got legionaries versus legionaries. This is actually kind of cool. You don't very often see a Rome versus Masaesole. Look at all of his, look at his shield. Oh my God, he's got like 8. Now looks like Rome gonna reform. Rome's unit's kind of doing something a little weird. So he's got himself, I don't know if he's trying to do like if he clicked Testudo and then unclicked Testudo. I'm not really sure exactly what he's doing there. You definitely also probably want to get rid of your formation attack. Formation attack in this point is probably not going to do you any favors. Swaby is not doing anything, which I'm not really surprised. He really can't do much. If I was Swaby, I would probably just bring what I've got left and join up with Rome and Egypt. But really, what does he have? He's got his Wodenaz Spear General, and then he's got a 10-man Berserker, and that seems to be pretty much it. Oh, okay, one more Wodenaz. And then Rome just pulling off of this. I think he's just deciding that the firepower that's coming in on his troops right now is a bit too much. I think what could be really good for Rome, I think if Rome starts pushing into Aravaki, I think that is a little bit of a better advantage to Rome than that Masacely position is really strong. Sorry about that, didn't mean to do that. Now what you can do if you're Rome, you could, defend them, but you could bring archers over to the side to try and pick into this flank. You just need to be careful against things like this. Oh, look at this. We have another chariot. Maybe that's why Rome pulled back. I didn't see that. Maybe this chariot was coming up and Rome saw it and said, hell no, I'm getting out of that combat, which honestly is a smart call. Get out of the combat. That should allow you to better form up against the chariots, especially against, using your javelins and things like that. Yeah, I just don't get the position, or I mean the formation here. You definitely want to take that unit and draw it out. Try and equal the unit that you're fighting, right? Because that's going to help prevent, the unit kind of sneaking around the flank of yours. But it also looks like Masacely is also using formation attack, which means that unit is going to basically hold its formation as much as it possibly can, where its men won't try to wrap around you a little bit, which can be beneficial or, detrimental. Here we go, good jabby toss. Once again, a weird formation. Draw your men out, Rome. Come on, get your men drawn out. That Praetorian Guard is really good, but you still need to be smart with it. And now the archer is getting ripped to shreds. Oh man, the Eastern archers should not be able to do this to Roman archers, but to be perfectly honest with you, most of his archers are still in the process of either getting onto the settlement or they're not even trying to get on the settlement. Yeah, they're not even trying to go against Aravaki. Which I don't know that Egypt would really be a great matchup there. Aravaki's infantry is pretty damn good. The Scutari might be one of the best. It's definitely one of the best, and arguably the best bang for your buck unit in the game. They're only like 600 something gold, but they can go toe to toe with things like thorax swords, which are like 100 gold more. So they are really pretty solid. They're still a unit you got to be careful of. They're not going to go super well against like a high tier unit. Oh man, look at this Roman unit, just way out of position, and he is just getting punished for it by Masacely. Masacely just tearing him to shreds. And here we go. Pontus actually sallying out a bunch of infantry to come deal with what's left of Swaby. So the Swaby Wodenaz Spear General, sorry, I didn't mean to bump my mic there, really just not going to do well against 3 units of mercenary Celtic warriors. Then you have another Wodenaz Spear about to get engaged as well. And with Swaby's general gone, that's really bad for Swaby. Swaby's probably going to break here. Their morale is not super great. So when you lose the general and lose that general buff, it's very detrimental to Swaby. And so with their, general gone, I mean, their army was pretty much gone anyways, but it's definitely going to break soon. See right there, General recently died. See how it says steady, but they're a little... See how it's orange right there, right where my mouse is? That means that they're not doing very well. Same thing, you can see Rome's got this. So this would be a really good opportunity for, like, the defenders. They could throw in some fire shot here. The Naked Warriors would be good to throw in. I know Pontus had one at least. I don't know where it is. But yeah, Mercenary Naked Swords, here you go. They would be a good unit to throw in here, and you would probably break this unit. You might even get this unit down. But that combined with the fire arrows would be really, really effective. Interestingly, Aravaki actually fell back here. Aravaki took a ton of damage. Wow. Looks like Javer, is that? Yeah, they took a lot of damage there. Galatian swords? I mean, what the hell happened to them? So the Egyptian archers are engaging Aravaki, which is really bad for Aravaki. Aravaki does not really have much of an answer to that. Now, they could, with their slingers, they probably could hit those archers. They would definitely still be in kind of an awkward position, and it probably still wouldn't be the best idea, but if they really wanted to, they could probably use their Balearic slingers and maybe push off that archer that's really doing them some damage. 27 kills. I'm trying to look at 12 kills. Maybe it's not the archers doing the damage here. I don't really know what did. I don't know. Well, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Armored legionaries. Now, if Rome would literally just fix his formation here, the Pontic swords cannot go toe-to-toe with Roman legionaries. They just can't. Legionary cohort's going to win that battle every time. But with the position that the formation that he's using, his line is really out of whack here. See how that legionary was able to get a really good flanking charge into the side of that Roman unit. It's just not doing him any favors. He could also probably throw that armor legionary right there if he wanted to. But it's just very, very incoherent, this formation here. Pontus getting in the Roman general, too. The Roman general at this point is stuck out here. Doesn't really have an option at this moment because they have no position into the settlement. The artillery that they could have used to get a wall down, possibly, dead. Same thing for the other one, the Swaby one, dead. Couldn't. So there goes that option. Now your only option to get this Cav general into the settlement is you could dismount it and climb it up the walls. But then you have a dismounted general that's kind of, you know, pretty much useless at that point. Or a gate, and to be perfectly honest with you, they are in no position to take a gate yet. So the Roman general is basically just left there, but it definitely doesn't mean you should just leave him standing there. Now, something that I don't like here from Aravaki, I guess this is a spear, but still, I probably would have preferred to see a countercharge there. You could see that he allowed Egypt to just run into combat. And we're also not getting much support to the line, so as this one died, that Egyptian unit just ran forward, and now his whole line is just way out of whack. Just like on the other side where Rome's line was way out of whack, now we have the exact opposite here, where the defensive line from Aravaki is just really wonky, and it's just very odd. What we should be seeing is I would throw the Scutari into combat and set up the Iberian Swordsmen. Iberian Swordsmen are one of the infantry units that get that the 5 jabbies. And so what I would be using is get the Scutari into combat and line up your Iberian swords to throw their javelins into the flank of the enemy. Egypt using formation attack, which is why you see his unit kind of going a little wonky and doing weird shit here. Sometimes that's what happens with formation attacking, cause your unit to go a little weird in formation, and a lot of times people then think that a unit is pulling through. When they're not pulling through, it's just that their unit's acting weird due to a formation that's being used. And it's still something that you want to fix, right? But it doesn't mean that the person is specifically cheating. I would say 9 times out of 10 with a unit that has formation attack, you should turn it off. You can see, look at this, a counterattack now. The problem is they need to, if they're going to counterattack, they need to bring more things in, right? So they do have a Mercenary Celtic. Look at one of the units that came out is now climbing back on the wall and is going to continue attacking. What a Chad. Probably the same thing here. But you definitely want to be sent, there we go, some more units coming to support this counterattack. And Rome, set up your troops. Get ready for this. If you don't, they're going to steamroll right through your back lines, and then you are done for. Bounce power, I hate to say, is already extremely in heavy favor of the defenders. But to be honest with you, I really do think this is a battle with people that are probably pretty new to multiplayer. A lot of people, when I say, oh, you're new, well, I've got 500 hours on the game. Is it all campaign? If it's all campaign, then you're new to this game, or you're new to multiplayer, which plays extremely different to campaign play. You know, facing against things like AI is going to play extremely differently than playing against a player. I feel like I've been doing a lot of rambling here, and I apologize if I have, but I do think that they have been valid points that have been brought up. I really don't want to see a lot of like slamming in the comments here. You know, the fact of the matter is that I just hope that if these players watch this video, that they can take something out of it to learn maybe things not to do, right? And, you know, I think that means that in the comment section, I think that people, please stay respectful. I really don't want to see stuff about, you know, look how stupid these players are. Shit happens, and people need to learn at some point, right? But that doesn't mean we need to be rude about it. Finally, the Rome player realized he was getting shot to shit in the side. Praetorian Guard, 0 kills, 120 men left. Oh, and here's the chariots! Sorry, I had taken a drink. That's why I went silent. And the chariots are in. Now, remember, Rome is in a little bit better situation than Swaby was, right? Rome is actually formed up, even though he's in combat, which is not great. But Roman units are heavy. Okay, so that means the chariots have a harder time getting through things like Roman units. I do think this chariot's still probably going to get quite a few kills. Probably not as many as the one earlier. This one up 2-0. I don't know, maybe. The other one got 700 kills. Right now we're at, you know, he didn't get a lot of kills going through the first kind of layers, but now that he's back in the soft underbelly, those softer units, the lighter units like the archers and the carrying axemen general, now he is starting to rack up. If he gets back in, hit shield wall, please! Oh, it's a carrying axeman, he can't, never mind. Sorry, I misread that flag. Oh, this is bad. Oh, this is really, really bad. Because now, once again, into the soft underbellies, into the archers. No shield wall from the thorax sword. The other thorax sword turned around. No, he didn't. So if he turned around, he could, you know, Javi. Turn around. Javi these chariots, please. Turn around. Same thing with the Royal Thorax Sword. Either shield wall or Javi. You should probably Javi at this point. Oh, my Lanta. 886 kills. Here's something. This is my mantra when it comes to things like chariots and elephants. Sorry, I'm not moving because I took my hand off of the mouse and keyboard because I'm, like, rubbing my forehead. This is my mantra when it comes to elephants and chariots, okay? More often than not, a person gets a lot of kills on chariots and elephants, not because they did something great. Usually it's because the other person didn't do something right, if that makes sense. Basically saying that if, as a player, right, if you, as a player against chariots or elephants, if you play it right, you should be able to deal with those relatively easy. Javelins, shield wall, holding your formation, don't move, you know, stop moving, things like that, right? are going to be more beneficial for you and help you deal with chariots and elephants far better. Not using those things, not javying them, not using shield wall, trying to countercharge or things like that against chariots and elephants are going to get you killed. Okay? So that's why I say that more often than not, it is the other player's fault that a chariot or an elephant gets a ton of kills rather than the chariot player doing something fantastic. And I'm not saying that never happens, but it's far less likely. And unfortunately, this game is over. Egypt is basically just kind of holding this final little bit, and honestly, the attacker or the defenders have become the attackers. To be honest, if they just go in, Egypt's done. You can see army losses kicking in right now, and that is going to be a GG. Not a bad battle, honestly. Like, you know, I think battles like this are good because they're learning battles. They're battles that we can teach things of not to do. That is something on this channel I've always liked to portray, and I think that I have succeeded in that relatively well. And this is definitely one of those situations where this is a learning battle, just things not to do, and hopefully that players in this battle and players even not that were not in this battle can learn something from it and take a better approach to their gameplay later on. So for the attacker, or the defenders, excuse me, we've got Aravaki, 1,267 kills. Extremely healthy, though. You can see they only lost 966 men. Masasli, 1,530 kills. Sorry, Aravaki was premium petrol. DFA, 99999 is commanding. Masasli is 1,530. Same thing, losses. Good KD right here, 1,500 kills, 1,300 losses. Extremely good KD for Jeff Rush as Pontus, 2,694 kills with 510 losses. Very, very healthy. Look at the chariots. That's all that needs to be said. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not going to go over the kills. I think we all know how this went. Ballsbany 2 as Rome. We've got Emo. I don't Patchcock. That sounds naughty. As Swavy. And finally, Egypt, Johnny Pepperoni as Egypt. That is going to be it for today's battle. Thank you guys so much for joining. I really hope you guys learned from I really hope you guys learned something from this battle and enjoyed it. It was, you know, I think battles like this are good. But thank you guys so much for joining. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys next time.